let's move on and talk about unionization activity. This isn't something we always talk about. It's not as prevalent as it has been over the years. It's definitely changing. And then when we see big organizations, we saw this a couple years ago when the automotive companies were going on strike, and now we're seeing the aerospace company like Boeing go on strike in their defense units here. But there's still that opportunity if you're an employer, you don't have a union. There's important things to pay attention to, right? There's signals and signs. And I think most employers would agree that they don't want the interference of a union in their business. So let's just talk a little bit about some of our experience, Bert, on what what are the signs that people should be aware of when it comes to creating an environment that would be ripe to invite a union to a conversation, right, with your employees. And the first one that I would throw out there in my experience, I've seen it time and time again. It's when the workplace, and we see this particularly with hiring today. It's difficult to hire, and then you have um, a high level of required or forced or mandatory overtime, where people are not having that balance of work life. Maybe overtime's being required or forced in an unfair way. Unfair can be interpreted by many people different ways. But it's a constant no time off. I'm missing my kids' ball games. I'm working every Saturday and Sunday, and my employer is really not giving me a voice in that and not giving me the time off that I need. I know that's always been a hot topic if you're in a high overtime situation to be aware. I don't know if you've experienced that or you would add something else to the list.
No, I think overtime is a big one. I think typically, Phil, the way I break it down is you sort of need to look both at what I would call the external risks and the internal risks
Yeah,
or vulnerabilities, either one. And overtime is definitely one of those issues, an internal vulnerability or risk. And overtime is really a double-edged sword for employers and employees. There are some employees who absolutely positively love the overtime. They want to
right.
work it as much as possible. And if they don't get assigned overtime or they think the assignment of overtime is unfair, they're going to get disgruntled. The flip side of it is that you have other employees who absolutely positively do not want to work overtime. They want their time off to remain time off, to be family time or time to do whatever they want to do on their own without having to think about work. And the extra compensation really doesn't motivate them at all. And again, if they're being forced to work overtime, or again, if they see that the overtime is being assigned unfairly or inequitably, they're going to be disgruntled. And so overtime, again, you need to be careful about that one. The other thing I will say is with respect to overtime, you want to make sure you're not always overworking your best employees
And
because
that's what
that's
happens often, right?
yeah,
That's exactly what happens. And it
yeah,
starts out with, hey, they're volunteering, they're happy to do it, we're happy for them to do it. But it's that unfairness that settles in that then creates a rub for people, and it then goes beyond overtime, right? It's really as it
absolutely.
relates to policies um, that get exhausted, if you will. They're
Mhm.
constantly being used. Putting the we're putting the shift, well, that's what the policy says, or we administrated the policy incorrectly. A supervisor offered it to the wrong person, and that person got the hours I was supposed to get or didn't get the hours they were supposed to get, and now you got to make it up to me. And then all of a sudden, you just have this environment
Yeah,
where people aren't happy. And then if you look at the external factors in a scenario like that, what do you see? You see Boeing's on strike, or you see the autos are on strike, or there's pickets going on down the road, and you hear the the unfairness that might be occurring there through the media, your channel of friends, communications, just being in the community. And the next thing you know, your employees are talking to somebody that you'd really rather them talk to you for versus, taking it to, a third party representation conversation. And now you got everything from under the NLRB and headaches to follow to stay hopefully union free if that's their objective.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it boils down from a business perspective, Phil, that there's a lot of research on the topic.
Level up your HR game with an AIM Employers Association membership. Get 24/7 expert support, exclusive training, and a network of peers. Join thousands of HR leaders building better organizations. Call AIM at 800-948-5700 or visit aimea.org today to learn about becoming a member.